There's a sound the hermit makes when he walks past the meat case now. It's not a word. It's just a little breath out through the nose, the kind a man makes when he sees a price tag that used to be a phone number. He doesn't argue with it. He doesn't write a letter to the store manager. He just turns the cart around and goes home. And he eats well anyway, better than most, honestly. Because here's the thing the headlines keep dancing around. Food prices aren't going up. They're already up, and the next wave is loading. The USDA now expects grocery prices to climb more than 3% this year, faster than the 20-year average, and that's the polite blended number. The categories doing the real damage are climbing a whole lot harder than that. The hermit saw this coming a while back, and one by one, he quietly crossed certain things off his list and never looked back. Today, we're going through exactly what those things are, and more importantly, what he buys, makes, or grows instead. So pull up a chair and let's get into it. Number 1, ground beef and the big cuts. This is the one that started it all for the hermit. Ground beef, the cheap, honest, everyday workhorse of the American kitchen, recently hit a national average of nearly $7 a pound. Not ribeye, not filet, the hamburger. To put that in perspective, back in early 2020, that same pound ran you under $4. So we are talking about a jump of more than 70% in just a few years, with no real correction in sight. And this is not a blip you can wait out. The reason your burger costs what it does is that the U.S. cattle herd has shrunk to its smallest size since 1951, back when the country had half as many people in it. Years of drought across Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma dried up the grazing land, and ranchers sold off their breeding cows rather than pay to feed them on dirt. Once those breeding cows are gone, you do not get them back overnight. It takes 3 to 4 years to rebuild a herd, which is why analysts are saying real relief might not arrive until 2028. So the hermit stopped treating beef as a default and started treating it as a treat. When he does buy, he buys the tough, cheap cuts. Chuck, shank. The things that go low and slow in a pot all afternoon and come out falling apart. He stretches a single pound of ground beef across 3 meals by bulking it out with beans, lentils, oats, and rice. And the rest of the week, his protein comes from places the cattle market cannot touch. Number 2, bagged coffee and those little plastic pods. If beef broke his heart, coffee tested his patience. The average retail price of ground coffee in this country recently set an all-time record of around $9.50 a pound, a 31% jump in a single year. And the pods, the convenient little cups, even worse on a per-cup basis. Instant coffee alone climbed around 24% year over year. The cause is a perfect storm a world away. Brazil, which grows about a third of the planet's coffee, got hammered by drought and frost. Vietnam, the Robusta king, got hit by typhoons and its own dry spell. Then tariffs landed on top of imported beans, and the whole thing rolled downhill to your kitchen counter. Experts are warning these effects could linger for years, not months. Now, the hermit loves his morning cup as much as anyone, maybe more. So he did not quit. He got clever. He buys his coffee whole bean and in bulk because whole beans stay fresh longer and the per cup cost drops hard. He stretches the pot by blending his grounds with roasted chicory root, an old southern trick from lean times that adds body and that deep roasty flavor while using less of the expensive stuff. And those pods? Gone. He went back to a simple drip basket and a metal filter he will never have to buy again. Number 3, boxed breakfast cereal. Walk down the cereal aisle and really look at what you're paying for. A box of brand name flakes is mostly air, cardboard, and a cartoon mascot. and you're paying premium money per ounce for the privilege. As bakery and cereal prices have crept up alongside everything else, the hermit decided the boxed cereal racket was the easiest thing in the world to walk away from. His replacement costs a fraction of the price and keeps him full twice as long. A big bag of plain rolled oats. Oats are one of the genuine bargains left standing in the grocery store, and they're endlessly flexible. He makes overnight oats in a jar. He simmers a pot of porridge on cold mornings, and on the weekend, he toasts a tray of homemade granola with whatever nuts, seeds, and honey he's got on hand. The math is almost insulting once you see it. The same money that buys you a few mornings of sugary flakes buys you weeks of breakfast from a bag of oats. The hermit figures the cereal companies have been selling Americans the most expensive way possible to eat a cheap grain, and he's done playing along. Number 4, bottled water by the case. This one makes the hermit shake his head more than any other, because the markup is almost comical. Bottled water can cost hundreds of times more than what comes out of your own tap, and you are hauling heavy cases home and stacking up a mountain of plastic for the privilege. With beverage prices broadly on the rise, paying a premium for something that is already piped into your house started to feel, in his words, like buying bagged air. So he stopped. Cold. In its place, he bought one decent water filter, a pitcher or a faucet mount, nothing fancy, and a couple of sturdy, reusable bottles he will use for years. The filter pays for itself almost immediately, and after that, it is pennies. For folks on well water, or anyone unsure about what is coming out of their pipes, the hermit's advice is to get the water tested once and then filter accordingly, rather than defaulting to a lifetime of bottled. It is a one-time bit of effort that quietly saves a small fortune over the years, and it gets that plastic mountain out of the garage for good. Number 5, pre-cut and bagged produce. The hermit has nothing against vegetables, quite the opposite. What he has a problem with is paying someone else to cut them for him. Bagged salad mixes, pre-sliced fruit, those little containers of diced onion and butternut squash. You are paying a steep convenience tax for a few minutes of knife work, and the pre-cut stuff spoils faster on top of it. With fresh produce among the categories, the USDA flagged as rising faster than usual this year. That convenience tax stings more than it used to. So the hermit buys a whole head of lettuce instead of the bag, a whole melon instead of the cup, whole carrots with the top still on. He spends 10 minutes once or twice a week prepping it all at home, and it lasts longer in the fridge because he is the one who cut into it. He'll tell you the bagged stuff isn't just more expensive, it's a trap that pushes you to buy more often because it goes slimy in 3 days. Buying whole produce isn't just cheaper per pound, it changes how long your groceries actually last, which is its own kind of savings. Number 6, bottled dressings and jarred sauces. Here is a category the hermit calls selling you back your own pantry. Bottled salad dressings, marinades, and dipping sauces are mostly made from cheap oil, vinegar or citrus, a little mustard, and seasonings you already own. Then they are dressed up in glass and sold at a markup. A basic vinaigrette is nothing more than oil, an acid like vinegar or lemon, a spoon of mustard, and a pinch of salt, shaken together in a jar in under a minute. From that one foundation, he riffs endlessly. A little honey here, some garlic there, a spoonful of whatever herbs are growing on the windowsill. It tastes fresher, it skips the preservatives and added sugar, and it costs a sliver of what the bottle does. The hermit keeps one repurposed glass jar by the stove just for this. He figures that, between dressings, marinades, and pan sauces, making his own quietly saves him a real chunk of money over a year. That money was previously going straight into packaging and shelf space. Number 7, name brand spices and seasoning blends. If you want to see the hermit get genuinely worked up, point him toward the spice aisle. Those little name brand jars carry one of the steepest markups in the entire store. You are paying for the brand and the cute glass bottle far more than for the spice inside, and the seasoning blends are often just common spices you already own, mixed together and sold at a premium. His fix is simple and a little old-fashioned. He buys his spices from the bulk bins or in big bags from the international aisle, where the exact same cumin or paprika or chili powder costs a fraction per ounce. Then he refills the same jars he has had for years. For blends like taco seasoning or chili powder mixes or Italian seasoning, he just combines what he already has. There is no secret in there, only marketing. And for the herbs he uses most, basil, parsley, oregano, thyme, mint, he grows them in pots on the sill or just outside the door. A few dollars of seed gives him a season of fresh herbs, and if he dries the rest, a winter's worth in the cupboard. The store cannot compete with a windowsill. Number 8. Chocolate and the shrinking candy bar. The hermit has a sweet tooth, and this one genuinely cost him something to give up. Chocolate prices on American shelves climbed roughly 14% in a recent stretch, and popular candies like the little foil-wrapped kisses jumped around 12% in a single year. Worse, you've probably noticed the bars themselves quietly getting smaller. Same price, less chocolate. That's shrinkflation, and the candy aisle is ground zero for it. The root cause was a historic spike in cocoa prices, which rocketed to record highs before easing back. But here's the cruel part. Even after the raw cocoa came back down, the shelf prices stayed stubbornly high. The companies are not in a hurry to pass the relief along, and on top of that, the sugar and sweets category overall is forecast to rise nearly 7% this year, outpacing regular grocery inflation. So the hermit stopped buying packaged candy and started making his own treats. He keeps a bag of bulk cocoa powder and stirs up simple things. A warm mug of hot cocoa sweetened with honey, no-bake oat and cocoa bites, a quick chocolate drizzle from cocoa, a little fat, and a touch of maple. It's a small ritual, it scratches the itch, and it sidesteps both the price hike and the shrinking bar in one move. Number 9. Store-bought bread and bakery goods. Bread is one of the oldest, simplest foods there is, which is exactly why the hermit bristles at what the bakery aisle charges for it, especially the artisan loaves and the soft sandwich bread that is mostly air and additives. With bakery prices riding the same upward current as everything else, he decided the smell of his own oven was a better deal than the bakery counter. Flour, yeast, salt, water. That's bread. A bag of flour costs very little and makes loaf after loaf, and a no-knead recipe means you do not even need any special skill or equipment. You mix it in a bowl, let time do the work overnight, and bake it in a covered pot. The hermit will tell you the first loaf you pull out of your own oven ruins store bread for you forever. He bakes a couple of loaves at a time and freezes what he will not eat that week, so there is always bread on hand without a trip to the store. Between the savings and the fact that he knows every single ingredient in it, he considers home bread one of the highest return habits he has picked up. The convenience of the bagged loaf simply is not worth what they are asking anymore. Number 10. Boxed and canned broth. This is the one that made the hermit laugh out loud the day it clicked. The stores were charging him real money for cartons of broth and stock, which is to say, they were charging him for flavored water made from scraps he had been throwing in the trash his whole life. Once he saw it that way, he could not unsee it. Now, every onion end, carrot top, celery butt, garlic skin, and herb stem goes into a bag in the freezer. Every chicken carcass, every bone. When the bag is full, he dumps it all into a big pot, covers it with water, and lets it simmer low for a few hours while he does other things. He strains it and he is left with rich, deep, homemade stock for the cost of nothing. Using ingredients that were headed for the bin, he freezes it in jars or ice cube trays, so there is always some ready for soups, rice, beans, and gravies. It is more flavorful than anything in a carton. There is no mystery sodium or additives, and it turns kitchen waste into the backbone of half his meals. The hermit calls it the closest thing to free food there is. Number 11, single-serve snack packs and juice boxes. The hermit raised kids once, so he understands the appeal of the little individually wrapped everything, the snack packs, the juice boxes, the single-serve chip bags, and cracker sleeves. They are convenient. They are also one of the worst per-ounce deals in the entire store because you are paying over and over for tiny packages instead of food. His answer is the oldest trick in the frugal book. Buy the big bag or the big container and portion it out yourself into reusable containers or small bags you wash and reuse. A large bag of pretzels, a big tub of yogurt, a jug of juice from concentrate. Split into servings at home. They cost a fraction of the proportioned versions and create a fraction of the trash. 10 minutes on a Sunday filling little containers, he says, can cut a family's snack spending dramatically over a month. The food inside the single-serve packs is identical to the food in the big bag. You are not buying snacks at that point. You are buying packaging, and packaging has gotten awfully expensive. Number 12, soda and sugary drinks. The hermit gave up soda partly for his wallet and partly for his health. And the wallet argument keeps getting stronger. Non-alcoholic beverages are forecast to rise more than 5% this year, and sugar and sweets nearly 7%, so the sweetened drinks are getting squeezed from both directions at once. He looked at a case of soda, did a little quiet math on what it cost him over a year, and decided that was a vacation he was pouring down the sink. So the case of soda left the cart and never came back. In its place, water from that filter we already talked about, dressed up however he likes. He'll drop in cucumber slices, a squeeze of lemon, a few crushed berries, or a sprig of mint from the windowsill. For something fizzy, he makes a simple homemade soda water and adds a splash of his own fruit syrup. It's not deprivation, the way he tells it. It's just cutting out the middleman who was charging him a fortune for sugar water in a can. His grocery bill dropped, the recycling bin got lighter, and he stopped funding a habit that was climbing in price every single year. Number 13, out of season and imported fruit. The last thing the hermit crossed off is buying fruit out of its season. Fresh berries flown in during the dead of winter, grapes from the other hemisphere, that kind of thing. They carry a premium for the shipping and the scarcity, and they are often picked early and shipped hard. So you pay top dollar for fruit that is not even at its best. Orange juice is a perfect example of the squeeze. Prices on the futures market shot up dramatically as weather wrecked harvests in Florida and Brazil, and that flows straight to the carton. The hermit's rule is to eat with the calendar. He buys what is in season locally, when it is cheapest and best, berries and stone fruit in summer, apples and pears in fall, citrus and storage crops in winter. And when something he loves is in season and dirt cheap, he buys it in bulk and preserves it. He freezes berries on a tray, he cans peaches, he makes jam, he dries apple slices. That way, he is eating his favorite fruit year-round, but he bought it at the bottom of the price, not the top. Instead of paying the off-season premium 12 months a year, he pays the in-season bargain once and stretches it across the calendar. It is the same logic the hermit applies to everything. Buy low, store smart, and never let the store set the terms. Here's the part worth holding on to. The hermit isn't eating worse than the rest of us. He is eating better for less. and he sleeps fine when the next round of price hikes hits the news. And funny enough, it is not all bad out there. Eggs are actually one of the few things getting cheaper this year, down sharply after a rough stretch. So this was never about doom. It is about deciding, item by item, what's worth paying for and what's just a habit the store taught you. You do not have to do all 13 tomorrow. Pick one. Make your own broth this week, or buy your coffee whole bean, or finally retire the bottled water. Then pick another. That is exactly how the hermit did it. Quietly, one swap at a time, until the rising prices stopped having much of a hold on him at all. Thanks for watching. If something here is going to change what lands in your cart this week, give the video a like and pass it along to someone who could use it. It is what keeps these going. And if you want more from the hermit, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so the next one finds you. We'll see you on the next one.